Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
You remembered your fucking name this time, at least. This one.
I'm laughing because Sharon sitting next to me literally fucking had a heart attack when I okayed just now. She's not used to being in the same room as me when I'm okaying. It's too funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get. We've been having some upheaval at the beginning of our episodes lately, but
it's fun. It's more fun, dude.
We're not in mid-season form. It's preseason, right?
Yeah, it's preseason for everyone, not just the players.
How you doing, babe?
Good. This is the monumental pod in week in life.
Yeah. So
do you make more changes this pod or Thursday pod?
Well, we're doing it different this year. Don't know.
What are we doing?
Well, before we would usually use this pod to just answer all questions from Discord.
Yeah.
So this time we're sort of taking more initiative and driving the bus as it is. If we ever do that, I don't know. That's the jury's out on that. But
the bus drives us.
I feel pretty-ish close. I think I'm getting there. I still have a few things I want to run by you. Obviously, we will get into that today. But, I'm susceptible to doing anything, obviously.
I know. That's the big problem.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a pretty okay place, unless if you really throw a spanner in the works and start talking to me about all sorts of crazy shit that I was hoping you to... I basically need you to either confirm what I want you to confirm and reject what I want you to reject. And if any of that doesn't happen, I'm fucked.
Uh-oh.
What about you? Are you where you at?
The more I have some like cornerstones of the team, and then the more I dabble in and around them, I'm just more and more lost in the sauce. More and more extremes of like three cheap mids in the same team. I'm like, I know this isn't good, but I got here somehow, and I'm like, it's so hard for me to like keep track of, the sort of like logic, because like you click faster than you think than you write down, so I'm like one thing, and then I make 7 changes, and I'm like, wait, who was here before? This team isn't as good as the last team, but can't remember. But before we fully go in, Mug League code is up. It's in the show notes. Every Patreon subscriber should join. We give away a 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place mug to the month winners, most FPL points in the month. Every month. And then first Rate My Team live stream of the season is on Thursday. So if you're signed up for this tier, you have to join Discord. That's where we do the live streams. It's like a private live stream thing. And then, we got the one more fireside tomorrow, one more pod Thursday night, game week 1 deadline on Friday. Holy shit.
We are 4 days away. It's Monday. So 4 days. Holy shit.
Doomsday.
It is doomsday.
It is. It really is.
It's just, pain again. We're back. We're back.
Oh, we're so back.
Yeah.
Do you have something in mind for how you want to do this pod?
I mean, I have some hot pressing button things I want to go over with you, but other than that, we can do anything.
I think that's perfect because my thought was like, let's just throw shit back and forth. Let's just take turns being like this, and then I'll say this, and then you say that.
Well, I mean, I guess one thing though, maybe before we do that is because there are a few things. Like we have the preseason. We've been in business mode doing the episodes talking about all the players, but like preseason we haven't really talked about anything.
Yeah, true.
So things that have maybe changed for the better or worse. For like, I definitely want to make sure we touch on that. But I mean, when I had the pod with Pernil, we like talked about my post-mortem things, and you and I haven't really discussed that, or because I pulled those with the intention of talking about them with you on this pod,
and then they just came up with it.
It was too. I had just done it and I couldn't put it away.
Tip your tongue. Yeah.
Is there anything that you wanted to revisit from that? Because maybe that's a good place to start. Because we will forget.
I mean, let's just start with. I think Estupiñán was literally the first thing that we talked about on the postmortem. So let's just start there. So like, who the Estupiñán of this year would be someone who's obvious that we're trying hard to not own, who has really good fixtures. And I think for you, that might be Porro.
I said on the pod that this will be Porro.
You said 3 months ago that it will be Porro. And now is it Porro?
Leicester, Everton. It's Porro. He's 31. He's like the most highly owned defender.
Really?
Right?
See, I have not even clicked the ownership tab one time.
Yeah, let me check.
I did not know that he was that highly owned. Why?
Can you
explain to me why?
Because he's obvious.
But why is he obvious? Like usually, here's what I'm asking. Usually when a guy's 50% or 30% owned, I'm like, totally makes sense. Totally get it, 100%. 5-5 Porro with 2 good fixtures and then 2 nightmare fixtures. Why is that obvious? On a bad defense?
Yeah. He had 11.
What makes this obvious?
I mean, he had 11 attacking returns.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a lot. He's playing almost double out of position, right? He's like coming out and saying, I'm playing basically as an alternate striker.
He banged one in. He's saying.
I don't know what. He just fucking doesn't speak English
words.
Clear. Yeah, he's just talking shit, but I like the shit he's talking. He's bangs one in preseason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the auto, easy job. I think it's just, you sort last year by points. He was 4th. He's 5'5". He's cheaper than it's like it's exactly the same thing as Purvis, where it's like, yeah, we similarly like, clean's like, probably not, maybe.
Yeah.
And also, right, it's just,
it's all there. He's just a thing away from assist, max bones, clean, and one of the 2 good ones. And then
it's all there.
Yeah. The other thing I wrote down with Porro is like, why is it Porro and not Trips?
Because Trips might not play game week 1.
Well, he started the last preseason game, so I assume he's fit. I mean, I don't know.
I don't.
This is actually a big topic because there's so many guys that we have no idea what the status is.
Well, I think that's something I did want to talk about, like the difference between like match fitness and match sharpness, maybe right where Tino and Lewis Hall have been starting. They've played like 400 minutes together in preseason.
Yeah.
Trips is old, maybe gonna sell, comes in. Like they also only have 1 good fixture. They have home Southampton, then at Bournemouth. They usually score every game at home. It's okay.
Well, but now they don't have Dom, so
yeah. But like Trips is also I just feel like there's actual significant question marks over him playing game week 1, and that is enough.
And that's enough to not.
Yeah, it's enough to put people off. And he's still like 14% owned, which is very high for a defender. So he's.
I mean, because I think he kind of should be like. At Bournemouth without Solanke, home Spurs is obviously not good for a clean.
Yeah.
But at Wolves, at Fulham, like cleanable, better defense, really good bones, good attacking.
Yeah.
Like he kind of ticks a lot of the same boxes. But I guess the game week 1 is just, game week 1 is really like making a lot of decisions for us that I think like for next season's postmortem, we're going to be like, why weren't we on Palmer? Like, why weren't we on Trips? Like, why weren't we on insert 3 other players who, haven't played minutes yet that are good?
Yeah. And that's a very case by case basis. But yeah, I mean, are you in on Porro, or you're like,
I have plenty of tinkers with him and plenty without him. It definitely hasn't, but that's why it was on my list, because I was like, I need Walsh to like convince me on Porro because I'm not seeing it. But I get it. And look, is there any thought of like, just one last thing on Porro? Is there any thought of like, I'm going to transfer him out for like Newcastle, Arsenal, like absolutely. Game week 3 transfer out?
Yeah, I would have. I mean, I would.
You look at the next run. There's like no cleans there. Maybe home Brentford, probably not.
I mean, I think the biggest thing I'm going to be watching for him is really his positioning. I mean, if he is shooting and looks like he's going to be, because
winger,
if someone cheaper could emerge where I'm like, I need the money and this is the spot I have to get it. But I mean, he had 11 attacking returns last year, and he probably left some goals on the table, honestly.
Yep.
So, he might just get more returns this year.
Sold.
I mean, that's
sold.
That's the thing. And then it's just, you don't give a fuck who he plays. He's just like kind of like Trent a little bit. Like he's not as good, obviously, or getting assists with as like beautifully, but he's spamming enough balls, or he's enough opportunity. And 5.5 is, the 0.5s go a long way, right? I mean, he is cheaper than the other attacking guys, and that's there's something to be said for that too.
I'm sold.
On the margins thin, so
far so good. 1 down.
Yeah, Porro, auto. I have not moved Porro ever thought about moving him since I re-listened and put him in. Like that's done. He's done.
I'm following suit. That's all I need to hear. Love it.
Okay.
Rich and Kai of last year. I'm just like basically pulling from the postmortem because I also listened back. So who are we super high on now who aren't game week 1 picks? That's like one part of it. That's like the Kai thing, like, you know, or Rich thing. Like he eventually got the striker role for Kai, or Rich, he eventually like got it back when Son went away, and then like we should have jumped back on them. And then who's the guy that if he ever does nail himself or his move position or something, we need to like sound the alarms? I mean, these are hard questions to just answer on the fly, but
yeah, especially just in a vacuum, just thinking of like every team and every player in the league.
I mean, I'll give you one because this is the one that came to mind for me. Is just West Ham defense.
Sure.
Like I'm so high on them. I think I'm much higher on them. Both of us are much higher on them than the average person. They have really, really, really bad fixtures.
Yep.
I need to like remember this, and game week 6, just fucking get my West Ham guys in order.
And, you know, I mean,
7, whatever.
Yeah, honestly, like I couldn't have been happier with the way their fixtures look because they have new manager and like a new backline. I mean, they have so many new.
Oh my god, they changed their whole backline.
New system, new, but Todibo like just arrived. Like no one has minutes.
Number 6, Guido Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's coming in.
Wan-Bissaka, Fulkrug, Somerville. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a whole, and it's late in the window, so they're gonna be really inconsistent and erratic, I anticipate, for like the first 6 game weeks. So if they had a good run, I would probably have many of their defenders 2-ish and be like, oh God, like they're all brand new. I don't know if they're going to, so we're going to be able to they're going to look bad. They're going to concede. They're going to get used to playing together. And then, yes, like you're saying, when their run starts game week 6, 7 or so,
game week 10,
we have to, it could be later than that. Like we have to just blindly go in. And
so
just
I don't know how to remember this, but I just wanted to get that out there. I don't know if there's anyone else. Like, what we would really have to go back and probably listen to our old pods, like the other preseason pods, which I haven't done, for other guys that we like but aren't game week 1 picks. But I don't have anyone else in mind. Yeah,
I mean, to me, like Solanke kind of fits that because I don't expect him to just walk in and just start playing 90 and look prolific. Even though I do like the profile and, you know, how he should in theory fit. But if he doesn't have pens, like we don't know who's pens.
We don't know,
And, you know, I mean, the Bumo Tony thing is a complete disaster. Like, I don't think Bumo's a pick game week 1 as of right now. It's Monday. You know, Tony could go on Thursday and then that's different. He could go in a week. And then we're just like, oh, we have to make a transfer to get Bumo in. So, I mean, that's something that's maybe
Bumo,
there. But
Dom,
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I have to say, Nkunku's kind of fallen into this area for me, too.
Dom is supposed to start according to Ange, but
but what, he plays 60 minutes with people he just met. I'm like, okay, you know,
the thing
maybe he'll score, maybe he'll
pass
assists. It's
the thing that everyone's talking about with Dom, and like, you know, they're right, is like he's just such a beast. He never gets hurt and plays every game, every minute of every game, basically every year.
That's true.
And his 90s last 4 seasons are 36.9, 31.8, 45.4, 37.1.
Yeah, he's a fitness monster.
He's just so like, available. There's no reason to sub him for fucking some bad player.
Well, the reason to sub him is if like he doesn't know what he's doing. Because again, it's not like they just all they play the same, you know, and he might get up to speed in a week. You know, I am very naive to this back room, like how this looks and what happens. But,
and it's player dependent and coach dependent. And,
But I mean, the way I see the Spurs situation is they have a lot of players, you know, even with Rich out, you know, Kulu's been really good at preseason. So, I mean, even if he just misses, you know, he gets subbed on 70 or 80 or something.
Yeah,
you know,
just to like get Bergvall minutes or some shit or, you know, whatever.
But I'm also, you know, we don't know if he's going to be making space and it's BJ is even better of a pick, you know, or if he's going to be in the box poaching or what he's in it, like how much link up he's going to do. Like he just might not look that good. You know, I mean, he might be like Tony without pens. And then I'm like, oh, well then I'd rather have Tony, you know?
Yeah. I'm not
give me 5
super
for you,
high
that kind
on
of
him
thing.
At all, really. Like I've always liked him, but I'm not like, oh my God, I can't believe
he's
they
some
got
world-class
Dom.
player. Yeah.
But it's just like, they have at Leicester home Everton, and that's the
you want to try
appeal.
and strike while the iron's hot, right? On that. I do think I was saying Nkunku is a little bit falling into this category because I'm just so nervous about everything that Chelsea is doing and how dysfunctional they are, because it's almost, they are the laughingstock organization in the Premier League to me right now. They've firmly taken the mantle away from Manchester United since they got their new ownership and recruitment in it. They just seem like they're being run by adults again, finally. But, Chelsea, the numbers, who's there, who's coming, who's going, who's playing where, Maresca playing out from the back, who's in defense, Reece, I'm nowhere
near their defense.
No,
I
know,
think Nkunku is a good pick, but
yeah. I mean, he's 6'5", so how fucked can you be picking 6'5" who could be out of position? No, not that fucked. But I think just from a standpoint where, yes, I still believe that he can make a mockery of the price tag. Is that going to be on game week 1?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, they're going to take time to settle and.
Yeah, I mean,
because remember what happened with Chelsea last year too at the beginning. Look, it's different with Poch, but we bought them because they had game week 2 and 5 and 6 home banker, and they were fucking kind of dysfunctional.
So inconsistent.
Ndot didn't score. Raz had that one big game, but then they were just they just didn't do anything. Yeah. And I'm a little bit nervous about that happening again with them because they have so much squad turnover and no one knows who's playing where. And Ndot just got his first minutes.
They have such a funny match log last year. I mean, score 1 goal versus Liverpool, score 1 goal versus West Ham, score 3 against Luton. Everyone gets their players. And then blank NFO, blank Bournemouth, blank Villa.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But can we jump to Chelsea actually? Because just personal question, I'm having a hard time evaluating their fixtures because I do still love Palmer. I still think he's a really good pick. Man City don't really care. They don't have Rodri, they don't have Foden. Whatever. It's probably a high scoring weird ass game. And I like Nkunku still too. But I'm having a really hard time with the next run because obviously it's green on the FPL site. I think a lot of people in our Discord are like, oh my God, they have a great run of fixtures. But when we were talking earlier in the preseason, I was like, they're actually not good. And a messed up, disorganized Chelsea team could lose almost any of these games.
Yeah, or all of them.
Yeah, but do you disagree? Do you think these are great fixtures that we should be jumping on?
I mean, I'm not. For me to say a team has great fixtures, I have to also have the presupposition that the team is good and competent, and I don't have that with Chelsea. So they don't have Ipswich or Leicester or Southampton in this run. They're playing teams that have been in the Premier League for years and are full of professionals. So I'm just skeptical, full stop, on Chelsea. And, Palace, they're worse than us. Not even a question. Right now, in 3 weeks, we'll be favored in that game. Not even a question in my mind.
No question.
At Wolves, at Molineux, home opener for them, tough one. At Bournemouth, small vitality, tough one. At Western, tough one. So I don't see it as the same banker that
I needed that confirmation because people have been starting to tell me how good their fixtures are, and I'm just if they're good, I want Palmer and Nkunku. But I still look at these and I'm like, these aren't good. And so I'm glad that you can confirm that me.
They could be good. Look, if Chelsea are firing on all cylinders, given the kind of firepower, then yes, this is a good run because they could blow any of these teams for 3. But we have no idea. And mentioning the defense, nowhere near the defense, but you have to also remember, if he's playing out from the back and he has not played the same 4 players in the back, and then it's do this so that the ball moves up the field so that they score goals and it functions, and that's not working, then they don't work. Yeah. So they have so many fail cases that I can come up with that just makes me not want to go there right now at all.
So you totally, Palmer's a different case.
I'm totally out on Chelsea.
Okay, and Nkunku also.
Totally out. No, will not be in my team game week 1. Absolutely will not be in my team.
I'm still fucking around with them.
Yeah, and he could absolutely destroy me. He could score 2 goals in the first 3 easily.
But they're not that highly owned, right?
Yeah, he's 17%.
17.
It's
Palmer's
not
43% owned.
Yeah, he should be. I'm willing to look. There are too many good picks. You can't have all the good picks.
You can't.
So
yep.
There are certain things you have to just make a call on, and I'm more worried about Chelsea, and I'm okay to place that bet or whatever.
Good. Good. Yeah, good to hear. Walsh, you're triple capping Game Week 2, right?
Yep.
On the postmortem, you are right.
Yeah, am doing it. Am
Just
bench boosting
confirming.
Game Week 1. Am triple capping Haaland. I mean, unless if he gets hurt, obviously I'm not doing it then. But
just confirming because I listened back and I was like, oh yeah, Walsh. Like we literally say like, if Haaland's home, if Haaland's home, but promoted side, like I'm triple capping. It's a boom home and switch, like boom, love it. 4-5 rotate defenders for home bankers.
Yeah,
we were both all over that. And I have been nowhere near that in my tinkers.
No. Well, it was almost like a throwaway comment, but you making the case, and you didn't even make a case, you just remarked upon it, about having 3 defenders that you start every week more so that you limit transfers in defense, which makes sense. I mean, I need my transfers to use on goalkeepers, so anywhere I can get them. Anywhere I can get them, boyo. I've been closer to that. I mean, so since I put Poro, obviously Munoz hasn't left. Like, I've been around having a third defender who I'm just going to start, and then I just have, a 4-5 and a 4 on the bench who just more or less make up numbers, or having 2 4-5s with, Barco's been in my team for a while.
Barco's
having 2 4-5s with Barco. I'm not, I'm kind of leaning that way, where, I kind of feel comfortable picking one from those 3. And that should be fine. But the way the 4-5s,
you're gonna have 2 premiums. You said?
Well, just Poro and Munoz. I don't know if that's premium.
Half premium. Ben asked if you're still, off the charts confidence on Munoz or not, because I guess we haven't talked about him. But,
it's chart breaking. I mean, the one thing that is a little bit, a little unknown is, Munoz did play his best with Olise on his side.
That helps.
And, it helps. Look, I mean, he's scoring goals for fucking Colombia. So we know the player runs all over the place like a madman, but he is going to have to build up a new understanding with whoever, whether it's Kamada or Sarr, so.
Has he been playing?
Yeah, he started the last game, played an hour, looked fine, did all the things. So I expect him to start. But the 4-5s, like the way of just having these 4-5s like home road, it just doesn't work because then these ones have bad home games and this one has a good away game. It's just I
think it can work. I still I listen back to us and I'm like, everything we're saying makes perfect sense. I'm probably not there, but it's really easy. You start with Everton, right? You start with Mikolenko. It's like boom, they have a lot of good fixtures. Start with Palace 4-5, Anderson, whoever. A lot of good fixtures. They're already you're covering most weeks, and then you throw in a Villa guy, throw in a NFO guy, done. That's probably all you need right there. And then I do it, Brighton, and then I tinker, and then I have Trent, and I have Poro, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, guess I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's with me with Munoz and Poro. I just like the value, and you're not spending that much extra. Yes, I like what you're saying, right? You can have. There are a good 10 teams in the league that have 4 or 5 defender options that you can pick any 5 of them, put them in, and just kind of do your best you can to rotate them.
It's easy.
You want to have as more homes and aways, but you let the fixtures guide you if not sometimes, and you probably are going to be okay. The problem with that though, I still find is you're an injury, let alone 2 away from this is a disaster, because that falls apart really quickly.
Isn't that always the case?
Not really, I think, because if you're relying on, say, you have Poro Munoz, right, starting every week. If one of them gets hurt, I just transfer in another similarly start every week player. But if your 4-5 gets hurt, you're gonna look at it and be like, that's okay. I can withstand this. And then you're just getting 1 and 2 pointers every week from one of your defense spots. And then if someone else gets hurt,
I see what you mean. You start starting a guy every week who's supposed to be a rotation guy.
Yeah,
that's what you mean.
Yeah. Because we have these machinations right now when everyone's fit and we can do it perfectly. But you're also not accounting for my 8-5 midfielder's also hurt. So that's priority.
Versus I do have this in one of my notes to myself, which is just like stay flexible. I mean, I think that we both are always very conscious of like the game week 1 flexibility.
Yeah.
But you have to stay, like, the reason FPL is such an intriguing game, right, is just, it's constantly changing. Every game, it's like new information, change, new fixtures, that fixture's gone, new fixtures ahead. And you have to stay flexible. And I think that like there's just something to reminding yourself of that, to be like, yeah, like you're saying, like the trickle down of making that decision might mean you can't get XYZ because you have to use your transfer on that. Or if you have your money spread out in defense as opposed to like Trent or something, it's like it's a lot harder to make this double move later. You know, it does limit your flexibility a bit, but I almost want to end up like somewhere in between. Like I'm listening to myself and I'm rotating like one spot maybe and have like 2 other guys.
Yeah, that's where I've been settled at. Like I really like the way it looks. I mean, Lewis Hall's been in there for a little while now because I just kind of feel like the upside's good there. And I mean, Nico I've had in, and that spot's been changing.
Lewis Hall, is he even nailed though?
I don't know. I mean, that goes into it where if he, I mean, look, is he going to start playing Dan Burn at left back? Football terrorist Dan Burn?
Maybe.
He's done it before. But Lewis Hall, like, he's bought on a permanent. He's basically a midfielder. And he has, like, big boom upside where in my team, if I have, like, him and Nico that I'm rotating, and, you know, my worst case is he gets dropped and I have to start Nico uncomfortably in 1 or 2 where they have a good run. Then I have time to, and I have Barco also, and we're talking these 3 for 1 spot. You know, it's
one
like
spot. Yeah,
you can withstand.
That's the key. Yeah.
It's not those 3 for 2 spots. Then it's like, oh yeah, that's too difficult. That's a problem.
Yeah,
if
I feel like you have to assume. I mean, you have to almost assume in FPL that like half your picks are bad or something like that, right? Like you should be,
especially now.
You should be looking at your squad every week, including this week, and be like, how does this team fail? What are the pressure points? Like, what are my transfer possibilities? And like, half of these picks are bad, and what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. What else? DCL, dude. We got to talk about DCL. That was a big postmortem thing you didn't bring up with LR. How are we not on DCL?
I don't want to be that vulnerable.
Nothing is changed.
He's been in and out of my team.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, he's been in and out because I put Mo back in, so I've been back on Holland.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's been in and out of my team. The biggest issue with me with DCL is I cannot, and maybe you can help me with this. I haven't come up with any reasonable, logical explanation as to how he is a better pick than Ladro. I just can't do it. He's just strictly worse, and he's more expensive. That's how I see that, where I'm like, this is it's irresponsible. Even though I like the player, it just feels ridiculous and dumb.
I think Pedro has a lot of questions and a lot of risk.
I don't see some.
Obviously he has the upside, and they're both on pen, so forget about that. But, well, it's a new team. We have no idea if they're even going to be good. They just might not be that good.
Everton's bad, so we got that.
We at least know he's going to get chances and could, score goals.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't know that much about Pedro. I know he's played some forward, but what's the front line going to be? How consistently is he going to start? How much does this new guy rotate? Everton have really good fixtures. Well, I think for attack, you like home Brighton, away Spurs, home Bournemouth is like a good 3.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Like your away game being Spurs is like almost ideal for a striker because you're like he'll get chances.
Yeah, I mean, the rotate. My thing with them is while Ferguson's out and Welbeck is beyond brittle. His flexibility, like I don't care where he's playing. Like I don't care if he's playing striker or behind or on a wing.
But isn't he also hurt?
All over. No, he just started. He scored a banger from outside the box. Okay. He's played a game and a half in preseason. Like he's just fine. He will start game week 1. They both have pens.
He's played 45 minutes I think all preseason, right?
No, he played 45 2 games ago, I think, and then last game he started.
Okay.
Did he get taken off? I thought he played more than 45 last game.
All I'm seeing is 45, but I have no idea if this site is even accurate.
Okay.
So the preseason minutes are
Does
just
the site you're saying show him as on a goal or not?
Yes, 1 goal in 45 total minutes.
Yeah, so maybe he only played a half, and maybe
because he was hurt.
He was, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's been training for a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, he only played in the Villarreal match.
Okay.
The most recent one, and he scored 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He scored, yeah.
But I mean, look, they have a lot of players, but they don't have attacking depth right now with March and Ferguson out. So, I mean, and Cisso's out also. So they don't have really central attacking options. I mean, who's going to play? He's got to play. It's going to be Minta, Batoma, Welbs, and Zhao. I mean, those are going to be the attackers. And then he's going to make up numbers behind. And, and that's just game week 1. It's ridiculous to me to think that he's not in their best 11. And, I just feel like he's just with Pens and, with DCL's issues, he's just a better pick and he's cheaper also.
No, I hear you, but I agree he'll start probably first 2, first 3, like not without a doubt, but DCL at worst is going to be your 8th attacker and be fine. Like absolute worst case. Like Pedro worst case is like I have a 12-minute substitute on my bench who's just like doesn't play or gets rotated every other game. So I just think there's a lot more risk is really
That's
it.
Fair.
And you're not,
That's fair.
You're not like, if he had good early fixtures, I feel like I would be so much more like, yeah, I'm confident he's starting these and he's going to fucking bang, but he has really, really bad first 3 fixtures. Even if you count home Man United as a good one, which it might be, away Everton, away Arsenal, really bad.
Yeah, well, Everton might not. I mean, this is the best time to play them. I mean, Brandt looks like he's not playing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Coleman just got hurt, so they're going to have Young. And so it's going to be Young, Brandt, maybe new kid, O'Neill or whatever. So it's good now.
Yeah, it's better. It's better, but like it's still a dice team at home.
I take your point. Yeah, I take your point. I mean, but this is also with DCLs, I mean, they go periodically. They just play a month and they don't create a chance. I mean, when is that month? I don't know. It could be right now.
I know. I know. I'm just reporting back from the postmortem. I'm talking to our earlier selves.
Where are you at on DCL? I mean, have you been playing with him?
Me,
do you think?
I've been like mostly, well, this is a little bit of an aside, but I think you're in the same boat. But I don't think I have a single tinker in my screenshot folder without Isak.
Yeah, same. I haven't touched him.
So he's just a staple. And then I've been back and forth on like, am I going to go Holland? Am I going to not go Holland? Am I going to free hit 2? Whatever. Lately, I've been tinkering with Holland. So it's like sort of one spot. And it's like, how badly do I want Kai? I don't think I'm going to be on Ollie unless I don't go Holland. And then I'm still high on Muniz, who has really good fixtures.
Yeah.
So that's tough. I mean, maybe they're not really good. How good are they? I mean, they have home Leicester at Ipswich in game week 2 and 3. So, like, they're fucking amazing fixtures no matter what. We'll see what Man United's like. We'll see if West Ham's difficult. We'll see if Newcastle's difficult. But those two are just, like, incredible.
Yeah, they're the best. I mean, I think they have the best first 3 fixtures in the league.
I think that's just
attack.
A fact. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm with you on the Muniz curiosity. I mean, I'm more interested in Smith Rowe than Muniz. Like I prefer the builds where I have Smith Rowe and then I have either a decent. I mean, doubling. I think is. I mean, you could obviously. I'm like because then I think you're looking into
ESR. You mean?
Yeah.
I think you could do that.
You could definitely do that, but then I think after game week 3, you're looking at like you either have a lot of points on the board, and then you're reassessing, or you're like scrambling and you're in the dumps and you're trying to make up points because you did a boo boo here.
Well,
but
let me rewind for a second here. How dedicated to 8 attackers do you feel right now?
Very dedicated. That's another thing. Like I'm there with 8. So
I'm totally
with
you.
The 8th is Rodgers. Like, I mean, the 8th could be the 5 million man.
I'm not that worried about that scenario, right? Like Fulham scored 2 goals in 3 games and you're whatever. And I have 8th attacker. Like I start Rodgers in their incredible run, home Everton, home Wolves in 4 and 5, that Ipswich and 6, like whatever.
The issue there is if Rodgers isn't starting.
He's the issue. Yeah,
he's the issue.
He's not necessarily my 8th attacker because I think there's other guys too.
Yeah, he's also not necessarily in my team, but
I'm not sure about him.
I think it's, we'll talk more about I want to talk about Bob a lot. I'm very Bob. We need a big Bobbing summit soon. But yeah, I want to finish up with DCL. He is sort of...
We're basically, you're putting him behind Pedro. I'm putting him behind Muniz. We both have Isak in every tinker. You have Holland in every tinker. I have Holland lately. So how do we possibly fit him in, even though we both have all these feelings of he's a pick?
Yeah, that's the issue is to me, it is irresponsible to put him in, and that could work. Because I just think Muniz, what is the case that he's better than Muniz in Game Week 1? There isn't one. There is not one. They don't even get pens. He's on, who gives a fuck? They get 2 pens a year. They fucking Everton. Who's Dwight McNeil doesn't go in the box. They don't have anyone to get. They don't win pens. Yeah. So it's this is, they're just strictly worse picks. He's strictly worse than these other picks. God. So it's do you override that with this idea that we had 4 months ago of, they're still farming chances to DCL, and he did just score an open play goal for the first time in his life.
Or do I just add DCL to the list of guys we like Game Week 1 but aren't picking? Because that list right now is Bumo, Dom, and Cuckoo, DCL, maybe more later.
I haven't not picked him because
Same.
I want him
because I still
want him
at these fixtures. And again, no Arsenal, no Liverpool, no Man City until Game Week 15.
Yeah, and that's the thing with him that is different. He's fit until he's not. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe he's plays 2,900 minutes this year and he just does the thing because he wants to get paid. If you start with him, you do not think about moving him. Unless he gets injured, you don't look at it. You don't look at what he does.
Nope, doesn't matter.
You just start him every week. You never think about it. He's an start
that's
every
appealing.
Week. It's appealing, and also it could be the biggest trap ever because he could just be terrible. Yeah. He could score 3 goals in the first 12 games, and I'd be like, because he fucking sucks because it's DCL. I think
I'm willing to take that bait almost.
I know, so am I. It's so fucking disgusting. That's why we're so perverted. Oh, God. So, DCL is a problem. DCL is a problem.
Big problem. Unsettled.
Yeah. All right.
Who's the Bumo this year? So, last year's postmortem, we talked a lot about Bumo. In all our drafts until Game Week 1, so obvious, ticks literally every box imaginable, and we both don't start with them.
Yeah. The one that I had been on for a while that it's very recently been away from is Pisser.
It could be him. It could be him. Yeah, Gordon is just very obvious. Good fixtures. Good player.
I might go back to him, but there's that false illusion of I have Isak, so whatever, don't need him. But
just you still need him.
It's similar to looking at ESR and Mooney's that effect, what I have in my made up screen thing that's not real. They're both, so Gordon's the one that comes to mind.
That's a really
Watkins
good one.
Is close, he's 50% owned, dude. 55%. I think he's I think he's the most owned player in the game.
Man, I do not have my finger on the pulse of the game right now.
Well, I've been keeping an eye on that just because it is relevant. He's 44%. Okay, he's gone down since I last checked. 44%.
44%. I'm pretty sure he hasn't played a single minute.
I can confirm that he has not played a single minute in preseason.
And they start with at West Ham, home Arsenal.
Yep. So, that's going to be a bet, I guess, because I was pretty, when I caught it with LR and, I felt like I found something there and then he hasn't played any minutes and the sharpness isn't there. And I'm like, no, I'm nowhere near again. He's not in there for me.
My
back to Mo.
Tentative Ollie plan is I'm very much considering Holland to Ollie in 3.
Yeah. I could see myself doing that.
I do that. I get 6 million in the bank. I pick any mid in the game to raise my 5.52, and I'm good to go.
Kevin with a bun, easy.
I actually hate the bun. I think he looks like shit.
Oh, but well, what about? Did you have anyone in mind for this?
I mean, kind of Palmer, but like
Palmer,
I kind of like Palmer, Kai, like these guys who like we both like. They're both good.
I'm not completely out on Kai.
I mean, Mateta also like. You were so high on Mateta on postmortem. You were just going nuts. We've debated on like how good is he, whatever, blah blah. And Elise is gone. You can only have 3 Palace. Like, why don't you have Mateta? Like he might miss 1 game. Okay, yeah, is that enough to be like, I'm not going to pick this pick?
I mean, I think there's a little bit of difference there with Mateta because the Elise gone factor could be so profound that we don't understand. Like, so much of why and how he was doing all the things was based around Elise, where he was either assisting him or sucking players in, or Mateta's getting a tap and rebound because Elise beat 3 guys and shot.
Yeah.
So. That
sucking players in, sucking players off.
And they're like backheeling to each other. They're both Frenchies. Like they love each other so hard. And so not having that and not knowing, with Eze, I think is different because he has the pens and the set pieces and, he's the hub and I'm not, but I mean, I want to wait and see like, how are we creating chances? Like what do our goals look like? It's going to be a little bit different.
Mateta. Yeah.
So fair. I'm a little bit just like a little bit more lukewarm there. And I want to just kind of see how it falls.
That's it. I think for my like postmortem things, we have a lot more topics to cover. No, we have so many more topics to cover. But what do you talk to me about?
I need to have firstly Odegaard. Like,
oh, he's on my list too.
Am I like? I need you. I
was all
look
over
at me
him.
straight.
Day one, I was all over him. Like first pot of preseason, I was like, he's so underpriced. Like I haven't.
Yeah.
And then I haven't had him in a while now.
Oh my God. I mean, I have him in because I just, I did the thing and I put him in and I was like, just put him in. I love him.
Yeah.
I need you to like look at me and tell me like, is he just a bad pick? And I'm doing like emotional, like, or is it like, no, it's fine. Like he's fine.
Definitely, that's the thing that I almost love about him is there's no world where he's a bad pick.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He might not be the highest scoring pick. He might not be worth the, 2 million over this player, 1.5 million over this player. That can also be true. But there's no world where he's just like blanks the first 5 games of the season and you're just like, oh my God, I have Martin Odegaard in my team. Like, I don't think that's a real thing that could happen.
There's a world where he has like 2. Because my thing with him is that obviously I say I love him, like blah, 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 blah. He is a flat track bully for FPL in terms of when he gets his points. And I'm just looking at like Home Wolves is obviously fantastic. The next 4 are not fantastic. And, I'm just worried about spending a lot of money on the pick here when we have 100 million budget and, really like home Leicester, home South. Like I mean, I'm kind of like, maybe I just try and wait till 6. And, that's a plan that I tentatively have on the back burner.
I think that's also good. Like that's the thing that I keep running into, and I'm sure it's the same for you and all our listeners, is like, there's so many different combinations of players and strategies that I've tinkered with. And I'm like, I look back.
Melting.
Yeah. And I'm like, I look back and I'm like, these are all good. I think this team's good. That team's good. This team's good. I think capping him is good. Capping him is good. Capping him is good. And, they're not all going to score the same amount of points. So you got to kind of figure it out. But to answer your question, Odegaard's not a bad pick. And also waiting till 6 is totally fine. Because I don't think he kills you. Because like you said, I do agree. I mean, you look at like, what are the games where he gets a lot of shots in XG? It's fucking Sheffield and Bournemouth and Brighton and Man United and Everton and Villa and NFO and Everton again. Like it is who you think it is. It is who you think it is.
Because he does so much more, work when they're playing competent teams or they're just not scoring 6.
And I think they squeeze so much. Like, that's so Arsenal, right? Is like, we have 70% possession. The other team literally can't get the ball past, not even to the halfway mark. Like where our center backs are 30 yards from goal. We're just like absolutely squeezing you. So he's in the box. He gets the shots. He gets a cutback. So I mean, I agree. I agree with you. He's flat track.
I feel like I have to let him go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been in my tinkers and and I don't know if it's right, but
I feel like I need, Well, so then I also wanted to talk about that because I've been like that. My sentiment I just expressed has been like nagging at me, and conversely, I'm like, Kai's a great pick.
Great pick.
I mean, I agree. Is it just he's the one there because while for Odegaard the first 5 don't look great, I mean they do for Kai.
Yeah, I agree with that. For the record, I think the flat track. I mean, Scott kind of explained this in that fireside, right? Like how Odegaard, his progressive passes per 90 exploded. They went up by 150% almost last season because Rice was doing a lot more ball carrying. Odegaard had to come back, get the ball more, move the ball forward more. It makes sense. Kai doesn't do that shit when he's that striker. I mean, it is maybe a little worrying that he's been playing so much midfield.
Well, he started striker last game, and
he started striker last game, and that was Al's question. Is Kai still a pick? Having played most of the preseason as a midfielder, but Kai gets big chances against the good teams, against the bad teams. He gets shots. He's just. I think he's immune because Arsenal are so good.
They're so good.
And their striker's immune to good bad fixture.
Yeah, and the other thing too with him that is nice is he came in. Don't forget, right? Last year was his first year at Arsenal. It's not like Arteta plays some Mickey Mouse, this is, Steve Bruce's team, huff it long. So he struggled from the attack in general when he was playing in midfield at the beginning of last year. And now he just has a more comprehensive understanding of what's required. And he's been scoring, he's been getting goals and assists in midfield this preseason.
Yeah. It almost feels like at this point, I'm like, whatever.
I don't want that, but also
I don't prefer it, but he still could get an attacking return.
And the benefit to it is that he won't get subbed as much. He'll just be playing more because if he subs Jesus on, he doesn't have to sub Kai off. Kai back. He just subs the left wing on, or he puts Kai in mid. He takes fucking Partey, who's 75 years old, or Jorginho off, and Kai goes back. And again, while it's not ideal, I mean, he could still return from there. So. I don't know. I feel because it's I've been seeing so many teams with no Arsenal. I'm just like, this can't be.
Dude, I'm so happy that you're saying that because
it just can't be right.
I mean, Ferguson's question was, "Is no Arsenal game week 1 stupid?" And I have a bunch of notes.
Stupid.
I have notes. I'm like, we're still underrating Saka. Kai's a great pick. Why am I not on Odegaard? I was on him all 3 weeks ago. What about Raya? He played 32 games last year. He's fucking cleans
half
every
the
game.
Cleans.
All this. Even Rice, I'm like, okay, he's going to take 50% of the corners. They're still donging on all their corners. They still have the same guys. And he contributes. It is dumb to not have anyone from the best or second best team in the league. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I have a tinker on somewhere in my screenshot folder with White and Gab just for the first 3 fixtures. It's fuck it. Why not? I'm getting a home Wolves. I'm getting a home Brighton, away Villa. They could fucking clean that too. I don't know. I'm getting points on the board and then I'll deal with it.
Yeah. They'll clean 1 or 2 of the first 3 and that's solid.
And he could get a goal and White could get an assist and that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's more
really tricky.
To me, with the defense, I'm more making that play of the game week 4 and 5 fixtures. That's where I'm going to kind of level out because it's really difficult for me to imagine cleans in either of those ways, especially after the international break.
Right.
And
I mean, the Cine one I have somewhere in my head where I'm like,
but you're not
Etihad is a 1% clean for every other team, and for Arsenal it's a 20% clean because they don't play.
Yeah, but I mean that's where I'm just hoping to get away with it because I have not had a single tinker where I've had an Arsenal defender still.
So what about Kai? Are you tinkering him in?
Oh yeah, in and out, me too. In and out. Really, it's for me. I've been looking at him or Odegaard. That's been a bigger question.
Who
for
are
me.
Your favorite forwards?
Haaland and Isak haven't moved. The third forward has gone through.
Because there's there's Ali,
journey.
Kai,
Ali was there for a while.
Solanke.
Mateta hasn't been in. Solanke hasn't been. It's been.
Me neither.
Honestly, it's been DCL, João Pedro. Muniz hasn't been in a single team.
Oh, really? I've been high on Muniz.
Yeah, I'm not on Muniz for sure. It's been Kai, Ali, DCL, and João Pedro. It's really those four are the ones.
So why don't you like Muniz? I just want to know because I've been on him a lot.
I just don't trust him.
Don't like him?
Don't trust him. Haven't seen enough of him. Remember, he had a few hot games where he scored all those goals, and then he had some games where he just completely went missing last year. Yeah. And I just don't know what he's about. I don't know if he's good. I just don't know if he's good. I've only seen probably about 4 of the games last year that he started in because why am I watching Fulham? I'm not answer. Spoiler alert, I'm not. So, the Man United away is like a little like, and it's, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. Not the great reasons, but
that makes me scared. Yeah, I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit iffy on that. So
because he's been in a lot of my tinkers.
Yeah. And I'm very openly here, admittedly saying I don't have good reasons. And
no, I know
they have 2 promoted sides in the first 3, and
pretty good.
You get something, or
and
you
I'm
don't.
Probably be at game week 2 in person.
Yeah, that's a big draw for you.
At the Craven Cottage, home Leicester, maybe Captain Muniz. I don't even know.
Yeah, you could get crazy there. But, I also like Smith Rowe a lot more. He's been very in and out of my teams.
Yes,
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
There's a forward. Third forward is so hard. If you don't go Holland, then you, like I talked earlier in preseason, like, free hit game week 2 or something like that, becomes obviously a lot easier because you have room for like, okay, I feel really good about Kai and all someone else like a 6 that you want.
Yeah. To be fair, I've been popping around on the Villa, online areas, and they do all seem to think Ollie's going to start. Whether he
really? Just doesn't matter.
He knows what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, and he's
a fitness
so
monster. Like he'll train this week, and maybe he'll play 75 or something. He won't play maybe 90, but they do think that he's going to start. And just for what it's worth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ollie also is a home Arsenal in game week 2. The other fixtures are ridiculous.
But that's the thing too with him that's really aggravating is like at West Ham, it's probably
might not be good.
For now, it's probably good.
Yeah.
Game week 1, the state of the affairs over there. If it's game week 19, we're having a different conversation.
Yeah, but like
the difficulty with him is like you're a little iffy on the game week 1. And then he has Arsenal.
Yeah.
So, you're buying on like the low, right? And so that feels bad. It feels bad, and it's not like you're buying.
And what happens if he doesn't start game week 1 or gets subbed off in 65, right? He price drops. He's going down 0.2.
Yeah.
Because he's 50% owned and he has home Arsenal.
He could. But, they don't price drop if you don't sell because then game week 3 and plus, you're not putting Ollie in thinking. No, I agree with you. But I think you're also, if you put him in, you're like, all right, I'm giving him a couple months, and then I'll reassess when they have a tougher run, maybe 11. They have, Liverpool and I don't know. But, Ollie's still in and around it. But
okay.
So, and what about you? You're really looking at a budget there because you're thinking back on Holland?
I've been playing more with back on. The main reason I've been back on Holland is like it's literally too complicated for me to figure out the free hit game week 2 equation. It's too complex to thread that needle. It's like I think it's right and good, and like I think that like if you execute it well, it could be like the most genius 5-head thing ever. But I also think that like I'm not good enough to actually do that. Like maybe I need to use a fucking solver robot and be like, tell me the right answer if I'm free hitting game week 2. What's the best team?
Yeah, you're not Will Hunting. You're not Will Hunting here.
It's actually so hard to make a team for game week 1 that you're going to free hit in 2 and be happy within 3. It's like it's the 3 times harder than just making a game week 1 team with Holland.
Yeah, I haven't done this. Was a few weeks ago since we talked about this, but I think it's back to the idea where we fall prey to often that we feel like we have to make 9 changes. You're probably really just supposed to make 5. Because you want to make your team that's
on the
just
free
good.
Hit. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
You want to just make a good team,
and that's really what it comes down to. Is like
and being okay with doing that, using the chip
I
to do
still
that,
might
right?
like I'm still. It's a thing that I go back to when I'm tinkering because I'm just like I actually like this team without Holland so much more. like I like these mids. I'm
and what's your mid?
Like,
are you on Saka, Mo, Palmer?
If I'm going without Haaland,
Trent.
Trent and Mo haven't left a tinker with or without Haaland.
Trent.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? What a joke! Literally has not been even touched.
I don't think Trent's been in my team once.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's so sad.
Shit.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Keep going. We have to go back on that.
But yeah, in the teams without Haaland, I mean, it's Kai or Ollie. Like Ollie is the better play for like the fixtures. It's no City for sure. I don't think it's a Chelsea player either. It doesn't make that much sense to get them now because like if I'm doing the free hit, right, I'm getting Palmer for home City and then free hitting them out for their best fixture. Like,
right.
Don't really love that. Yeah, but it's Saka for sure. Like our Arsenal guys, it's triple Arsenal for sure, 100%.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because they have home Wolves, and then I free hit them out for at Villa, home Brighton. So I still like Saka and like at Spurs and shit. Like, I'm good, comfy there.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just spending more money. Like 3 top tier defenders instead of 1.5, or whatever it is.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Some of my tinkers are even like premium keeper because I'm just like, whatever, premium keeper until whenever I wild card, and then I'll pick
who's good.
My favorite 4 or 5. Yeah,
sure.
Bank the points. Like Allison or something, or Raya, or whatever it is. Emmy, Villa have unreal fixtures if you take away the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
They're just like the sea of green until game week 10.
Yeah.
So like, someone like Emmy, probably additional Villa players too in there. Bailey, actually, I forgot to mention Bailey earlier when we were talking about guys that I was all over, and then I like haven't been tinkering with much in that candidacy of player, but like Bailey for me fits that because like I remember our first pod, I was like, he's in every tinker. Like how is he not the best pick? As soon as Diaby was sold, and then like I haven't been playing with him that much lately. Eze hasn't moved, Mo hasn't moved.
You can't afford him.
Yeah, and then like the teams with Haaland, I'm like, I just can't fit in another 6'5" with Isak and Trent also in there.
But do you still feel similarly about the player, the evaluation?
I mean, I don't think anything's changed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean
the right side's locked up. I mean, it should just be him.
It's just, he's played literally every game for them in preseason.
Yeah.
Has a goal, has an assist. Like, it's just his spot, right? I mean, certainly until Champions League, I think it's just his spot. So maybe I should go. I should like make a note of this and go back to Bailey.
Yeah. I mean, and I wanted to also touch on BJ because, you're perennially higher than me. I mean, and him and Bailey, like, I mean, they have a bit different, same price, but I mean, BJ just this role of kind of, sort of a little bit strikery type stuff that he does. I mean, I was like starting to get geared up for him because of all of the chatter.
Yeah.
Getting Solanke though makes me like really scared of him because of just not playing well at halftime, like doesn't come out second half kind of thing. Like with Kulu and just who they have in the squad. Oh, you think there's like
too many guys?
I'm just worried. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. Which could be misplaced, but
yeah, I'm not worried about that.
I mean, are you thinking about him, or is he there
at
all for you?
He's definitely.
It's him at 6'5", you can't afford him.
No, I mean, it depends what I'm doing with the other picks if I can or can't afford him. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking about him. Definitely.
Do you like him more than Bailey? Or do you think they're? I mean, do you see? I see them very similar, honestly.
They're pretty similar.
Yeah.
I think what I need to do when I'm like critically analyzing that is like the floor and ceiling. Like, I think Bailey could just like not start a game randomly because Philogene and Rogers are the wings for this game, and Bailey played the last game.
Yeah.
Whereas like Brennan, I think will just be a staple in the front three. I think Andrew's
you really think? I mean, with Timo, it's like he's just going to play right wing and play 85 every game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not 85, maybe 77, but like, I mean, I think he's just clearly that good. I think that like, we joke about how bad he is, but like from the coach perspective, like Ange probably is over the moon with him, right? Like he does everything exactly how he wants it,
and
he gets big chances
in the box.
Yeah, and then he gets big chances all the time. But like he also gets 10 assists. you know, because he passes to Son and Dom and Poro and like whatever. And like, yeah, so he gets production. He does everything that's right. He's young. He's fit. And it makes all the sense. But yeah, I mean, I guess there are a lot of guys. Like,
they do have a lot of guys. Especially, Rich isn't months away unless if he literally leaves the club.
But even without Rich, it's like, okay, so Son we know is nailed. Dom we know is nailed.
It's Kulu.
Then there's like a number 10 spot that's like Matto or Kulu. And then there's right wing.
Other Bergvall and...
Yeah, and then there's right wing that's like Kulu or BJ. But I think it'll be BJ. He does crazy
shit all the time. Yeah, you just think BJ is right wing. And Timo is just strictly depth.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the price would suggest that. I need to listen to... I have some stuff written down to listen to. I want to listen to the above average episode where they talk to the same Spurs guy that I talked to last season in preseason. Gotcha. And they're just like 4 Spurs fans just talking, because I'm sure they'll talk about BJ and stuff. So I'm curious what they think BJ, of the nailedness.
Yeah. He's so hard for me because, he's hard to watch, because he does so many good workmen. Like, he does back post runs, pace, whatever, and then he just doesn't appear for 25 minutes. Like, oh, he's still playing. Right. And then he gives the ball away cheaply because he's a fucking idiot. He sucks at football. Like Kaylee's kind of talking about, right? Like, you watch Minta's tips or flicks and tricks video, and you watch BJ, and he's just like making a side pass and then sprinting.
Yeah, it's just clown
that's all he can do. Yeah, it's exactly. And to me, right, with him, we've been talking about him. We're interested. 15 goals this year, but for sure.
Wouldn't be weird.
Yeah,
just be like, the underlying. He played a full
180 points this year. Oh yeah,
he's 22. He got a little better.
All they do is attack. They have a good team. They added a great striker.
Would not be weird. He's 23.
And that's the other thing too, is right in my head too with BJ's. Dom makes him so much better to me, because
Dom is just great.
I mean, he's going to be able to come in field, hold up, like flick on. Like, how many times did we see Dom creating for Semenyo? And Semenyo's fucking
or 1/5
or the speed of BJ. Like, imagine BJ instead of Semenyo. I mean, he's just in clean instead of his one time a game, which is if he does it one time a game, he scores 1 goal every 4 games. He might do it twice, so then that's 1 goal every 2 games.
And that's really good. I was texting with
that is Will Hunting, man.
And maybe we should just talk about Dom now, because it's obviously a big change since we last potted. But I was texting with a Spurs supporter friend, and he was like, "What do you think about Dom?" And I was saying, like, yeah, he's good, and he's going to play every minute and start every game. He's good. And he was like, "Oh, so you're not that high on it?" I was like, "Well, I'm still really high on it, because him playing every minute means like subtract like Hill minutes and Manor Solomon minutes and Valise minutes and Timo minutes and like all this shit." I'm like, the trickle down effect of having Dom start every game makes the whole team so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. So Dom, I mean, and Glazu, Voltaire, Mishka, if Dom goes to Spurs, explain to me why it's dumb to get him. I mean, it's not. He has the first 2 fixtures.
No, it's not. It's not Dom. But to me, then when I look at that and I scrutinize the spot, it's like, how is he better than Kai? Like, that's 0.5 I want to find.
I don't think he is.
He's just not. So, is he 1.5 better than, the Muniz guy? It's like, I don't think so. Like,
I don't think so.
I like the combination of Muniz plus this guy that's way better than Dom, and this guy who's like, I'm very kind of nervous about.
Okay, so we're kind of similar on Dom. Yeah, it's just like...
I'm nowhere near him. There's no chance he's in my team. He's not 0%.
It was... Like, people say this all the time, and I usually disagree, but in this case, I think it was good for both teams. Bournemouth will be worse, obviously, without him, but they're not going to get relegated, and they got so much fucking money for a 27-year-old. And Spurs are just going to be better with him, with a little bit of upside.
Yep, absolutely.
But he's probably not in my team. I just don't think he'll get that much better. Like, last year was his absolute best season of his life, and he had 19 goals. I don't think he's about to just, like, score 27 and be like, oh my God, Dom and Ange.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not that player. I mean, he would have to get pens and they would have to win 8 of them. Like, it would have to be that Bruno freak season kind of for him to hit some ridiculous number. And, we're not in that world. I wanted to talk one, I did want to just circle back on Bailey. I just had a thought as we were discussing is like, the other thing too with Bailey that makes me a little bit nervous is like Ebenings does so many things game to game that like confound me. Where it's like he picks a little thing and he's like, I'm gonna just do this, and then it's like, oh, Bailey's just not doing it. He's just not attacking, And I do, I see a fixture on, and players that are immune to this on the team. Watkins, that's it.
Pretty much.
This, or it's like, this isn't a Bailey game, or we're gonna play an extra mid, or like he does so many bizarre tactical things where, from a game to game setup. I mean, there are also just games where Villa just like, don't create a ton. They just kind of possess
they're
meaninglessly.
Not that good.
They're good and they're bad and they're amazing and they're not that good. I mean, they're everything. You never know, I feel like, week to week, which version is going to show up.
So
it's like
hard to evaluate with like, it's like they got all these cool young guys, like cool, but they also like lost Doug Luiz and Diaby, who are like good and played a lot of minutes, and a lot of production. So like, I'm like, are they even better, or did they just swap a lot of guys for a bunch of other guys? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, they don't really even necessarily maybe need to get better, but even if it's just a similar thing as like with Bailey, I like a lot about what he does. Like, he's very creative, he's very attacking, he's very fast, but I do just have in the back of my mind that nagging idea of, what is his step forward? I mean, he had 10 and 11.
He had a career year.
I mean, is there better than that? And he only played 2,000 minutes, but I still just feel like I'm like...
He had a career year, and Ollie had a career year.
Yeah.
Like, are they both gonna match that?
Is this who they are now? They might. I mean, they might be. They could.
I doubt it. Like, most players don't have the best year of their career back to back, right? Like, that's just like a fundamental thing.
Sure.
I mean, but Bailey there's also just young, there's so much competition also at 6'5", right? I mean, we've already mentioned Nkunku. We mentioned BJ. We're talking about Bailey. There's like MGW, Garnacho, Doku. There's 5'5s we like also. That like, would you rather have 2 5'5s you like, or 1 6'5 that you a 6'5 and a 4'5 who's worthless?
Yeah,
like,
let's talk
give me
about
the 5'5s, right? Like I'd rather have 2 rolls of the dice, right? Like I think the odds of that are better.
Yeah,
of hitting that.
Yeah. Let's. One more thing before I do, we have to talk about Bob.
Bob.
It's Kevin and Bob. It's I know, dude. But before, I just like an idea and just a thought to just put out is like this idea. Every year there's some unique unusualness where we had Euros and Copa America, and we have these players that look. I mean, if England got dumpstered at a group, we wouldn't be thinking about anything. It'd be like, oh, this is just normal. This is a normal preseason. Yeah. And for FPL, if we played Syria fantasy, we're like, oh, it's like it's the same thing.
Easy. Right? All the gods are back.
But like the difference, like I think you and I, we get into this thing where it's like we pick our teams as though we're marrying them for months instead of like.
We're so
what's
bad
happening right now, and we can make changes, or we can wild card and like match fitness, match sharpness, like who's playing minutes in preseason, who's been there,
who's sharp now,
who's sharp now, right? Like who's sharp now? Because we look like Piss Hair started the other day, first game back, scored a goal, played 60. Yeah, okay, good, right, fine.
Easy.
But there are other guys that. Like Ollie hasn't played a second.
Yeah.
Starts like, he's obviously fit. He's always fit, but is he sharp? And trying like Nkunku, he's played 700 minutes in preseason. Palmer's played 15.
40.
Endot's played 12. Or like you're saying, like João Ladra. I mean, he's played a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, how many picks on your team are out of that versus in that? I think is just something to look at your. Slate and your risk portfolio, or however you want to view it, and be like, if I have like Watkins and Piss Hair and even Eze's played an hour, like he's in a start, I'll probably play 80, but but if your team is full of that, and you're like, my team's great. Just to consider that. It's because there is something like hitting the ground running. It's hard to do if you're not playing, and that's preseason. It's not like they're the most competitive.
Yeah. And the other side of that coin is also like, we also shouldn't only pick guys who are playing minutes and in form and ignoring guys that we like who haven't been playing.
Right.
Like, and that's kind of like where I started with the first part, right? Like there's, say, I don't have an example off the top of my head, but there's guys that we know we like where they're good picks, they have good fixtures, and we're just like, yeah, but they haven't played, or like, yeah, they haven't trained. It's like, whatever, dude. They missed one game.
Yeah.
You can't plan for that. Like, you can't just have a 5-5 with a good fixture in game week 1, and then it's like you have your pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it goes both ways. I mean, it is something definitely to consider. It's such a foreign feeling preseason for that reason, and everything feels like more risky. I mean, I'm sitting here. I just told you Trent hasn't left a single tinker. He's played one preseason game. He's not even nailed for game week 1, and then he might. And he'll probably start, but like
subbed on 59.
Bradley could start one, and then Trent start. And I'm just like, whatever. But I'm just sticking with my guy because I know I want him long term. And I want to start him in every game, even if he misses one. But if you're going short term for a guy because they have a really good, like Dom, right? Like they have a good game week 1 and 2. That's like all the value that the whole entire reason that you're getting Dom is for game week 1 and 2. Like, is that good? Like he's on a new team. He hasn't played with them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, and there's also the other little diddle that occurs that we have international break after game week 3. There are certain spots where, managers don't like to not start someone for all three, like Kulu, right?
Yeah.
He's going to start one of those 3 games somewhere. He's not going to be benched all. So what does that mean? Like it means either BJ or Dom are not going to play one of the first 3 games to me.
Probably both. I mean, like, honestly, if we're being real, like one game BJ's rested, one game's Dom's rested. I mean, that's just like law of averages almost, right? Like he's just, like it's much different when, Spurs are home Arsenal in game week 4 and we're like, okay, he's 100% playing the best 11, no question, full week's rest after international break, whatever. But like, like early season, managers just do stuff. Like they're also looking at who's sharp right now.
Yeah.
They're also training this guy's fucking puking after the fitness run. Like I'm not starting him. Like we don't know that shit.
Yeah. And I mean, and you have to, I think that is something to just consider. Like when there are competent competition players, right? That, and you're looking at like BJ, right? Where it's like, okay, if he doesn't start one of these 3, like what does that do? Or, am I okay with that? What do I do if that happens? Right. And, maybe like Kwanzaa's sort of similar, right? Where it's, he's getting some helium because he certainly seems to be ahead of Konate and his profile fits a lot better for what kind of slot wants from the center backs than Konate. Is he starting all 3 of these games? Fucking no chance. Like Konate's going to start one of those games.
Yeah.
The one thing here is I would bet on is that Konate starting the United game, and Kwanzaa's going to play the bankers, which I was kind of poo-pooing Kwanzaa because I was just like, what's the upside here? And the upside could be great because he could maybe play the easy games and not play the games where they need to defend more, which, would be really good for him from an FPL standpoint. But, just that also idea of just, looking at your player and thinking like, what's his trajectory? Each spot, right? Like Barco, what's their trajectory?
I think we should do that. Everyone should do that for every guy in their team.
Every pick, yeah.
Where are they currently? Have they been playing? Are they sharp? What's the competition? What's like the percent nailed or whatever, right? Like, and that's another reason to just be like, for me, like, am I really going to try and like free hit game week 2? Or like, do I just go Holland, who is fit, is sharp,
had against Chelsea,
had months off, could absolutely hat trick versus Chelsea, and like is nailed as all hell because he had 2 months off
because they don't have another striker on the team,
and they
He's
sold
the best
out.
player in the world, best striker. They sold out. No, I mean,
so that's we gotta think about that. But you wanted to talk about Bob and other cheap guys and stuff, or what are we doing?
Can you talk to me about Bob? What are you seeing with Bob? Pick, not a pick, insane, pipe dream, fantasy. Like we've been here before.
This is the jitterbug thing. He's an Oscar Bob 5-0. Too good a price to not punt on if you're just thinking about game week 1 and game week 2, which I guess jitterbugs only think about game week 1 and game week 2.
And I want to talk about him specifically also compared to Rodgers.
Well, he's way better. I think
way better of a player, actual better player, not close.
Not close. And the team. Yep.
He has stars. Like Rodgers is like filler, good player. Bob could be a star.
Yeah, Bob looks incredible. And just playing on City is just like a cheat code, right? Like he can just side pass to Holland, who bangs one. Side pass to Foden, bangs one. Like cross. Like there's so many routes to points. And he's always returned with like goals. Like he just played for 5 seconds and like scores or assists. Like
so many goals.
Yeah, he looks incredible. I mean, I expect him game week 1, and that's basically the extent of it. I think like from there on, he's probably not a pick.
So, I mean, there's an interesting like Sam Lee came in today or yesterday saying that he's planning on playing Foden and build in midfield more this year, and it's really going to be Doku. Did you see that?
Yeah, give me a fucking break.
And it's all fucking bullshit.
What are we talking about? Yeah, Pep revealed his entire season plan to Sam fucking Lee at the Athletic.
All right. All right, relax.
What's he going to say in game week 2 when Sam Lee's like, I thought Foden was supposed to play midfield. He's just like, Phil can play anywhere. He contributes to the team.
So, I mean, do you really see this as... Look, I mean, Bob is nailed starting Chelsea. That's not even a question. But do you see this really as like...
I don't even think he's nailed.
Be on, I think by the minutes that he's given so far, I think he's nailed for game week 1. But like, do you just see this as like this is a disaster?
So you think it's Jack and Bob game week 1?
Or well, Jack was hurt, so I don't know where he's going to be.
Oh yeah, I forgot he got hurt. But he was playing every game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Jack or Doku, Holland, Bob across the front three against Chelsea.
Yeah, it's pretty likely, I think. Yeah, but like I don't think that makes him not a pick for game week 1 because you just play him in game week 1 for sure. And then you start him and pray for 2 or 3. And like most games, he's going to be an unused sub. And yeah, he's going to end up third on your bench. I really do believe that. I don't think this is like the Bob breakout year. They have way too many players that are, I think, way ahead of him in the depth chart or whatever. But
so like, I'm a little bit
not a disaster.
Skeptical on that because they are really light in central midfield. Like, they have Kevin, they have Rodri, but McAtee, like, he's not giving meaningful minutes to McAtee, when he could play Bill or Foden there and play Bob. Like, I mean, Bob's at it. Like, I'm almost comparing Bob to, like, this central midfield because that, like, eliminates wing competition.
Yeah.
Because it's really Bill and Foden. Because if it's Bill, Foden, Doku, Savinho, and Bob for wings, like, he's fucked. Like, those are like
Jack.
6 guys.
And Jack might just be back. He's starting every preseason game except the last.
And I mean, so then all of a sudden we're talking about like 6 guys.
That's what I think it is.
2 spots. But then who's playing? Like, he's going to play Cunha
Rodri,
2,400 minutes?
Kev, Kovacic, and then
Kovacic is playing over 2,000 minutes. Like,
no, but Bill will play games.
Yeah,
there's
just too many guys.
What's his name? Nunez will play games. I still think they're going to buy someone. They just sold Zhao for 90 million or something.
Too many guys.
Yeah, there's too many guys. I mean, I just don't think he's
too many guys
gonna start regularly by any stretch. But like, he's good for game week 1, and he might. There's still a chance he starts game week 2, right? And if he does, like, incredible pick. But I'm probably not gonna go there.
Okay. And then let's come back to Rodgers because you and I haven't actually talked about him. I mean, I still keep thinking of like, this is not a good pick. Like, that's all I keep thinking. I was
Everything
like, this is a trap.
About
this is not a good pick.
Doesn't seem like a good pick.
Like, I think he's good, and I watch. I'm like, yeah, he's versatile. He can do a lot. Yeah. But I mean, from an FPL standpoint, like, is this someone that I want to play? I'm just like, no,
not I don't really. Yeah,
he's gonna get subbed at 60. Like, they have a lot of options. I'm just like, is he really gonna just take off and be the second coming of Christ? I'm just like, I don't like.
Yeah, is he Palmer this year? Like, no, he's definitely not.
So I mean, is it really just like he's your 8th attacker that you never start?
Well, like, even as my 8th attacker, I feel like even that is just like not FOMO, but like I'm getting like pressured by the community of like everyone on Rodgers, like most informed, blah blah blah. Even though I don't believe in him, like he hasn't been in my latest tinkers because I'm just like whatever, like fucking I don't believe in him. I'm not playing him.
He's not going to kill you for sure.
Yeah, and like I don't even plan on like the teams where I do have him. Like I'm not even fucking playing him.
Right.
You know, like I'm like maybe Leicester. I bench some other better player, but like maybe by Leicester he's not even fucking nailed anymore. You know, like I just feel like there's so much turmoil in the Villa team.
Yeah,
and like other than like you said, I mean, you just said it. Like Ollie, he's the nailed one. He's nailed and gonna get points in the games where they score goals. Who else is gonna get points? No fucking clue. He's gonna mix and match. There's more Champions League games than ever. I just don't know. You know, like Barkley's not gonna get 0 minutes. Ramsey's not gonna get 0 minutes. You know, McGinn's gonna play some wing minutes. Like,
and he's a kid.
Iling Jr., Buendia, Bailey, fucking Philogene.
Buendia's there. Yeah.
There's just too many fucking guys. Like I just don't trust anyone except Ollie, kind of. Even though I do like Bailey too.
So many guys.
I mean, Harley said Watkins hasn't played a minute. Yada yada. Should we ignore and hold strong, or do other cheaper forward options justify the wavering? And like, have you tinkered with an Ollie team at all?
Yeah, I mean, I had Ollie, Holland, Isak up top for a while, but that was when I had no Mo. But
yeah.
You know, I have kind of just come full circle on Mo. You know, I mean, also you just being so steadfast, like joke. He hasn't left my team.
Joke.
Great pick. You know, I mean, as much as the washing of Mo jokes were, you know, very rampant last year, and I was contributing to them because I believed he looked washed because he was exhausted and maybe carrying something. You know, he's just doesn't have his little curly hair and he's ready to go. He looks more aerodynamic. I mean, I love to see that.
I feel like we've been talking about Mo for so many years now, but this is just classic Mo. Classic,
what is classic Mo?
Classic preseason Mo.
Tell me about classic
Looks
Mo.
the sharpest player on the pitch every game, scores and assists every game, fittest he's ever been every fucking game, gonna start every single game, incredible fixtures, he's always the best player in the game first half of the season for the last fucking 7 or 8 seasons, however many it's been. Like, it's just ridiculous, I think, to not have him. I really just think it's like,
and
silly.
I'm with you. I mean, I think the accommodations, like, I'm so fetishizingly hot for all of these like 5-5 guys.
I know. Oh my
whatever.
God.
Like I could fill my team with them. So the compromises aren't really that compromising to put Mo and Holland in, and I'm there. You know, I mean that's pretty certain for me.
Yeah. So Holland, I could still find a way to not have him. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's come back onto the 5-5s because I mean Minta just keeps getting points every game.
Yeah,
and
there's
he looks
Minta, like Jacob Murphy is popping up. There's other 5-5s that are good too. ESR, it sounds like you're very into ESR.
I'm very high on him still. I mean, I know that, you know,
he scored 2 and 2, right?
Yeah, 2 and 2, and it, you know, I know Kelly's, you know, it's just like
so
it's so hard to listen to like his takes because it's just strictly like a fucking science thing.
Yeah, that's
like
it.
There's
that's
no
what it
art.
is.
It's just
that's
like,
what it is.
Well, he had one, and there's no imagination. It's almost as though you don't watch, like you don't know, like there's no projection, like there's no scouting. It's like
the other day because he has worked for clubs before,
and they all fired him.
No,
anymore.
No, not true.
I'm taking the piss.
But like, that's how he answers, right? As if like I ask him a question, and it's almost like he's answering as if like he works for me or something. Yeah. He's like, well, this is how much risk ESR has, and this is why I would not advise purchasing him. Yeah. But like, he's not talking about like, but what if he's 5-5 in FPL? Because that's the equivalent of being like, what if a real life team bought him for $2 million?
Yeah,
because I think then the answer would be different, right? He would be like, he has upside, $2 million, like you might as well.
And I mean, my hope would be that he can acknowledge that he's not, you know, speaking on behalf of, you know, his desk or shareholders, and it's just like,
well, he also doesn't play FPL, so
sure, but even just the idea, right, whatever, it doesn't matter. But either way, you're right. The inherent pessimism and cynicism of everything is just okay, we're not talking about Messi, like we're not looking for Messi every pill here, and either way, but like Smith Rowe is like, yes, obviously hasn't done it for years, but to me, it's just like they have these couple of promoted teams and. He got some minutes in his legs. He played 80, like kind of looked tired towards the end. And it's just, he's going to be the hub, like Iwobi and him and Adama. I've been spending about an hour looking at Adama today again, by the way. Yeah. I mean, he's been
Did not know
playing,
about that.
He's 5-0, looks great, like locked down the right wing spot. Dude, Fulham, man, I'm in.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I'm fucking cooking over here. I'm like looking at Rogers and Bob and I'm like, what are the Adama? Yeah, maybe Adama's back on the menu. I don't know.
Should we do a draft team this year? Like, no, I want these guys in my team.
Shit. Fuck that.
I want Adama, Bob,
stop,
Roger. This is my midfield. Okay, Adama. That's a separate. That's a private conversation. I think
that's a DM only.
Yeah, that's us in the sauna.
NSFW.
No towels. Yeah,
there's Vaseline's involved. It's arms or members. You're putting Vaseline somewhere. But yeah, I mean, Smith Rowe, I just feel like he's going to be playing as many minutes as his little body can handle and just get it. But that's the thing. Like, he got a header goal. He's like the late runner. He's like Ramsey, but just 10 stuff. Like, late runner, find space. Yeah. They're going to... Milv is going to create the team, I feel like, almost around making up for his lack of defensive, qualities where he's just like I like him a lot. Like ever since we talked about him.
No, I mean
like I can't get him out of my head. So I feel like he's pretty safe in my team too.
You mentioned the Cayley fireside, but I was more enthused by what Scott said about him than I was like deterred by what Cayley said about him, right? Because Scott has like watched him for 6 years, every preseason game, every sub appearance, every cup game. Yeah. And like his reaction to like
of minutes.
Yeah, those 5 starts in the last 5 years. And his reaction and even Nate's reaction to like, like that's just a classic Smith Rowe goal. Like and I'm just like, oh, I'd love to hear that. You know, like
and it's funny because it feels like a scam. Like his goals is like, how is he doing that? Like, whatever. Like it's bullshit. But he always gets them, right?
Yeah, he just ends up on the end of stuff and gets big chances. And I mean, he's good. So that's one very good 5-5 pick. But there's a lot of others.
So let's go through the 5-5. I mean, where are you at on the 5-5? Do you have one? Do you have two?
I mean, right now, I don't know. I don't want to look at my team. It's disgusting.
Too big. But
my
just go
humongous.
through the 5.
But I've had Minta in a lot.
So talk to me. I mean, what do you see with him, Minta?
The bad thing about him is the fixtures.
Fixtures, yes.
I don't want to start him. Like he's so exciting and explosive, and I don't want to start him really confidently in any of these games. Like we don't know if Brighton are good. Don't know how deep he's going to play, whatever. There's all these things. So that is concerning because also he's the most nailed right now before the international break, before other guys come back fit. And then that's when their fixtures get good, is starting in game week 4. But
who is his competition? It's March, right? I mean, who else is playing right wing over there? They don't have anyone. Adingra, he plays left usually, right?
No, Adingra plays right.
Does he?
I mean,
he fucking sucks.
They've been playing other guys there.
I mean, do
they
buy 40 mil for, and he's like the best player on their team every game in preseason, that, a game or two that he doesn't look good, that he's going to be dropped by game week 4 when they have an easy run?
It's not even dropped. I just think he's going to rotate a young player. I mean, in preseason, most of the games has been Matoma right wing and Minta behind him.
I thought Matoma was playing left wing, and Matoma,
he plays like a 3-4-3. Like the most recent game was like the 4 is like Barco left mid and Minta right mid, and the 3 up top were Pedro, Welbs, and Mitoma.
Okay,
so like he plays kind of this like hybrid, because apparently his work rate is just out of control.
Yeah, he doesn't stop running.
Out of control, right? So like that's why he's almost wing back. But like obviously he's like further forward than like a normal wing back. But it's just like, I mean, I think he's a great 8th attacker who maybe you don't start. But like if you're getting him as I want to start this guy every week, the fixtures are just so bad. I just like don't feel like the upside's there that much, even though I'm really high on him individually and think he's so good.
Fair.
I still don't understand why like other teams didn't buy him. Like that price for his age and his profile is just fucking insane.
I mean, it was in like an awkward position of, he's so young and, maybe he really wanted to play. And, how many teams are going to promise him first team minutes at that price? Like
very few.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could be something. And, Brighton did have an available, spot open with March. He might.
I think Brighton has also like made themselves like a very appealing home because they're like, we'll start you. And when you get really good, we're going to sell you. Yeah, like you can go to any biggest team in the world. We're just going to make money off you.
So you're a little bit cautious on Minto.
Mainly because of the fixtures. So I'm like, there's other guys like even like a Cho or something like that where I'm like first 3 home Bournemouth at Southampton, home Wolves. I'm like, like I'll just start him for 3 and then, take the lay of the land after that. Like I feel like the riskier, this may or may not make sense, but the riskier the position, and by position I mean like a 5-5 mid is really risky, the shorter term I want to look into the future. Sure. Right. So like I'm not picking a 5-5 mid to be like, oh my God, I'm starting them for 9 game weeks. Because that's not realistic. These guys are
realistic at
bad.
All.
So like I wanna
get too harsh.
You know what I mean?
But I got
but like Smith Rowe is not gonna last more than 2 to 3 games. You can't look past that.
Because he's gonna get injured, you mean?
Yeah, of course.
Oh God damn it. Again? It's happening again?
No, but that's good. 3 games. You get 2 promoted sides. I think that fits exactly what I'm saying. But like like Cho, like I don't like believe strongly in Cho or anything like that, but start him in 3 games before the international break, like 3 absolute bankers, like sure, and then like, take it from there. But we were talking earlier about like, the risk profile of your team and like what are the pressure points and where's your team going to fail? Like, I don't want to rely on this guy too much because this is like, it's really easy to make a team with like Mo, Holland, Trent, Isak, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, I'll just start this 5-0 and 5-5 every week. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, I need 8 million.
Yeah. Like I have 2 really auto bad. Blanks in my team and I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
Right?
I have no money anywhere to get them.
Yeah. Unless if I make a huge call by getting rid of one of my enormously premium picks.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Which is always risky.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about that. But yeah, I guess Minta's fallen a little bit in my personal team just because of the short term.
Okay.
Don't love it.
So where else in the 5-5 region? I mean, are you Kamada's there? I
mentioned Cho. I actually do like Cho Alonga, like
Kluivert.
Sure. Yeah, Kluivert's going to get minutes. There was someone else. I mean, even McNeil, Everton, good fixtures.
Yeah. I mean, there's also like Barrington Diaz, BBD's back.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you brought him up. I forgot about BBD. Because I'm obsessed with BBD. He's the best thing ever. He was legitimately so good last year.
Scored every game.
And like stats, points, whatever metric you want to look at, he was on the worst fucking team we've seen in 20 years, and he was amazing. And now he's on Southampton. Yeah. He's just going to start up top with Adam Armstrong, just like because they sold Che. He's going to start 5-5 mid.
He's one of their best players. He's a pick.
He's an actual fucking pick. He's an actual fucking pick.
Because I mean, there's also like Leicester have like Mavididi or whatever, but Steve Cooper also. I mean, I don't think they've scored a goal in preseason. This team might score. Dude, I was
thinking about them the other day.
Like, they're in trouble. They look bad. Their team is bad. Yeah, Steve. Fuck, he's gonna get fired soon. But
he is so bad.
But yeah, Barron. I mean, you mentioned Jacob Murphy too. I mean, he's been looking good in preseason. I mean, he's not going to be starting consistent games for Newcastle. They're either going to buy someone or he's going to start playing Barnes and Gordon together. Like, I don't know how long term that looks, but
he's also he's also bad.
Yeah, he's not that good. He's just
like Jacob Murphy.
Jacob Murphy. Yeah, he's played 1,000 minutes every year.
He
for a
scores
reason.
an occasional worldie, but like this isn't like. I mean, somehow he had like 3 and 7 last year. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but like. He's 3 and 7. You're like, oh, he's similar to like BJ. Like he is not similar to BJ at all. He's So I don't like him personally as a pick. But BBD, dude, 4.4 points per start last year on the worst team in 20 years.
that's the thing. It's like, you look at the Southampton. Insane. No, it's insane. I mean, you look at the Southampton team and they're not pulling up trees. I mean, this isn't like a good squad by any stretch of the imagination, but they are better than Sheffield United. They'll probably get relegated.
No doubt in my mind they're better than Sheffield United last year.
I mean, they're going to be playing this 3-5-2. I mean, he's going to be playing kind of out of position as much as that means for a team like Southampton. And there is no more security of start than him as long as he's fit. He's just playing every game.
Yeah.
I think he's great. Like I think
he's actually a great pick. I really do.
I mean, at Newcastle, game week 1 is rough, but then NFO, Brentford, Man United, Ipswich, Bournemouth. I mean, this is a good run. Yeah. I mean, I've been playing with him a little bit, just from like the Minta, like you're talking about Minta, right? And tough fixtures. Where's he going to be come game week 4 when they do have home Ipswich, home NFO, which is really like, okay, this is when I want to play him.
Yeah.
He could just have 3 blanks and they scored maybe 2 goals in those 3 games and they have 1 point. Right. And it's like, I don't know. Who knows what he's doing? He plays João Pedro at right wing and he's just not.
Like Brighton, almost more than any other team, has so many question marks. So many new players everywhere, new manager, like all this shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, you looking at these different kind of picks is like, on the other side is like Brereton Diaz is, this team is bad. They're definitely way worse than Brighton. I mean, they're way worse than almost every other team you're considering from. And also, the really bad teams have great picks like every year.
They score goals.
They score goals. I mean, and they have a good manager. I mean, he's good.
I've only heard very, very good things about him. I don't remember watching, but yeah.
Lallana's there.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a new. They only just got him, right? He played like one game or something.
Yeah, he started, I think, and played 60 to give him legs, scored. And well, that's all he does.
That's all he does. So I agree. I think he's low key, just a great pick.
Great pick.
And I should probably have him because I also fucking love him. So he ticks 2 boxes, 2 humongous boxes. I have fucked around with Adam Armstrong as my 8th attacker. But ultimately, there's just too many forwards I actually like that I'm not going to get one who's very bad and I don't like Adam Armstrong. So too bad for him. But I mean, Southampton were best underlines in the flap last year, attacking wise, which is usually a good sign for how they're in a I mean, Sheffield I think were best the year before that, but then they lost all their players.
Yeah, they lost which half of
Southampton didn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel good about him.
Clive or anything? He took a pen. I mean, anything there for you, or he's just too lightweight?
Too lightweight. I don't have any faith. I mean, Unal's already hurt, which I didn't really know when they sold Dom. I was like, I guess it's Unal's teams now.
They're talking necktie. I mean, they're gonna buy somebody.
They're gonna buy someone. Yeah. I think that's it for the 5-5s, right?
What about Carvalho, your boy, going over to Brentford?
It's interesting. I mean, I don't really get it, to be honest. I mean, I don't know where he's going to play, but they paid a lot of money. It was way more than I thought we'd get for Carvalho. And
I mean, double the think fee he's good. Like a minute for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's good. Yeah. I just don't really know. I don't think he's going to be nailed. That would be really surprising to me if he's nailed.
Yeah, well, he can't because they play in 2 formations and he can't play as, with Bumo in the 2. He can't. No. I mean, to me, it's like he's going to be taking Shada's spot. He's going to play, on the left wing or, I mean, maybe whatever. If Tony
goes,
maybe.
Best role, quote unquote, is number 10 or behind striker. And Liverpool didn't really they have too many good guys there, so he never played there. And then Brentford just don't play a 10. They play fucking 3 Danish workhorses. They never attack. So
I mean, to me, it's like he plays when they play 3 up, and then he's just the kitchen sink attack, all the attacker sub. When they're losing, when they play with the bus, kind of thing. But not a pick, probably.
He's still, I don't think he's a pick. I mean, he's still youngish and has potential, but like it's a weird one by them. Yeah. It doesn't feel like.
And Kamada, are you anything there for you with Kamada?
I like him, but like Eze also hasn't left my team, and just don't feel necessary to go there. I don't know what's happening with Sar, and when all the guys are back and fit, I don't know who starts, and
okay,
I don't know.
Okay, gotcha.
We got a question about Chris G said, is one of the Bournemouth attackers a pick for Game Week 1? They could be an amazing enabler. So I guess that's the that's like the Clivert shout or something. There's no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Semenyo also is 5'5", and he
might play striker with Unal hurt. Or Jebison.
Jebison's 4'5". Yeah, it's just like, come on. I don't know.
His name's Jebison.
Yeah, can you take a Jebison seriously? You can't.
Yeah, I mean, I love like Sinistera, but like, is he ever gonna play? Like, I don't fucking know. Yeah. They're such a weird, it's just a group of guys.
It is a group of guys.
Just a group of guys.
All right.
Yeah, we got questions, but I think we covered all the other 5-5, so we don't need to go there anymore.
Okay. So what else? We're at 140 here ish, 135, something like that.
Yeah, we're
keep going, or
there's a few more things. I think. I mean, X50 said seems to be a lot of worries about Gordon's minutes, but also he still feels like the most obvious pick who could haul in the first few weeks. Is it over thonking to not have him? So we talked about that. So do you think you'll work him back into your team? I think I should.
I don't know,
but I haven't.
It's really, for me, the four immovables that I'm looking at building around is like Eze, Holland, Mo, and Isak. So there's only so much I could do with the other four spots. Like the money only
that's affords a lot of money.
Me, it's a lot of money. So, if I want to put Gordon in, it almost automatically means I'm getting a cheap striker. And, or
3-5-2 maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to do that because it's too much. I'm going to do bench boost Game Week 1.
Oh yeah,
it's not going to work for me there. But if you're going 3-5-2, you could do that. But I'm not looking that route. But
Adam Armstrong or
Pedro or whatever. But I mean that wouldn't be 3-5-2. That would be like some hybrid rotation. But I like the cheap mid so much more, and so to me it's like, do I like? Because it's almost like Gordon versus Kai or and then the subsequent, like I prefer Kai and Smith Rowe to Gordon and Pedro.
I see. Yeah. So that's fair.
So and I was playing with Rogers and Bob and I'm just looking at the 5-5, I like the 5-5 guys. I could just load up on them. A 6-5 guy.
We've never liked the 5-5 guys or fell into any 5-5 traps.
It's not us.
Sound
but that's the other thing.
Fucking alarm.
Sound the alarm. Sound the alarms.
Oh my god, it's a trap.
I do feel like though, honestly, this year is different because usually we find this one guy who's 0.1% owned, and there's no other 5-5s in the game, and we're like, this is going to be great, And now there's at least 7 of them, so we need 1 or 2 of them to hit, and we'll be generally okay in our structure or whatever, right? But we, I'll
the 8th attacker, dude. The 8th attacker makes a big difference.
Yeah,
we could completely whiff on Smith Rowe.
Yeah,
and you know what? He's just on our bench.
Yeah, unless your 8th attacker is Rogers and he doesn't play by Game Week 3.
Well, yeah, if your 8th attacker is not nailed and good, then that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big thing, just talking to you and looking at this and really kind of gut checking, what are takeaways for me of I think it's no Rogers, it's definitely no Bob, and my 8th attacker is going to be a 5-5 player, and that's my floor price point, and kind of working from there.
Which is, and even again, to go back to the 3-5-2 for 1 second, that is one thing that's really nice about the 5-5 forwards is. If you just put Adam Armstrong for the example, or Delap or something, it's nailed. Pedro. I'm questioning how nailed he is, but sure, Pedro. Nailed, pens, great 8th attacker every single week. Best first person on your bench. You can even start them sometimes. Good. Versus like some of the 5-5 mids is like he could lose his spot, or like I'm not sure he's good, or like there's other.
But that's
like
the thing is
the forwards just seem solid.
But you can pick the 5-5s. That's not the case. Like Smith Rowe, that's not the case. He's playing. He's fit.
He'll play every game. Right? Yeah.
Like Kamada, Baron. Like there are 5-5 guys that don't like Minta.
But they don't have pens.
No pens. Yeah, fine.
So like they don't have the like random. They're auto subbing in at Spurs, and they just get a pen and get lucky.
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
A few other things. I mean, again, like you mentioned the structure of this episode at the beginning. Like we're gonna just keep pushing the questions back, and on Thursday we're gonna do a lot of questions. So like, relax, everyone in Discord. We're gonna get to the questions eventually, but there is the Jota question. We haven't really talked about Liverpool that much. Yep. Ferguning said, "Is Jota just an auto pick now that Darwin's been cast to the second team?" Which I think is really
cast forever. I mean, cast away.
Yeah, it's like, but like if you're looking at the teams, I mean, I think that's like the only reasonable way to read the team sheets is like that the game against Sevilla was the first team and the game against Las Palmas was the B team, is how it felt.
Yeah, but it's not like you're being cast away. It's like this is the game week 1 team.
It's just for game week 1. That's it.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They just got here, so they're playing. They're not playing game week 1. Yeah.
Right. But Jota,
talk to me.
I'm really fucking interested. I mean, he's so good. I actually started with him last season, game week 1.
Yeah. Remember?
He's so good whenever he starts. Every year of his career, even when he's on fucking Wolves.
Yep.
And he's nailed game week 1, I think. I think that's for sure. Diaz, Jota, Mo, front line.
Yep. For sure.
And I'm not sure that he's going to be unnailed because he's so good. Like, that's the thing that is sticking in my head is like, yeah, Darwin's there. Yeah, Gakpo's there. This might just be his guy, because like if they're winning game, like this was kind of a postmortem thing, right? When we were scared to go Kai because we were like, is he going to keep starting at striker last season? But then they're winning all their games. It's like, yeah, guess what? He stuck with Kai because they're winning all their games.
Yeah.
Like if Liverpool start well and win the first 2 and Jota has a couple goals, like he's probably the guy. Maybe it'll change when Champions League starts, but like short term might be worth the risk.
Could be.
Last year I had him game week 1, 2, 3. He got me 16 points. Sold him.
Yep, that's good.
Might happen again.
Yeah, that's good business. Yeah, I mean, it's everything you're saying. Yes, I mean, Slot didn't buy any of these players. He's just
they're all new guys to him. So they're all the same level playing field. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't care that Darwin cost 80 million or whatever. I mean, it's just like this is the squad, and what am I going to do to get the best song and get the best points out of it? And Jota at 9, almost a little bit of like the falsy job of what is he doing, his movement, and could be his guy. Diaz, to me, it's just, you look at this team and you have Mo on the right. Obviously, that's locked down. You have 4 incredible players for 2 spots. So, I mean, they all know each other really well, right? They've spent all together a couple years together. I mean, Gakpo is like,
most of them, yeah.
And also the 4, just Diaz, Jota, Diaz maybe a year and a half, whatever, but. They don't know what Slot wants. We don't know how fast that's going to take, and we don't know which profiles of each of these 4 players really fits with what he wants and how they coalesce
That's a big
together.
one too. I'm glad you brought that up because I mean I don't know. I watched 1 preseason game. I'm not like the type of fan who's like, you watch 800 minutes of preseason. I know everything about the team, but in that Sevilla game, I mean it's so clear. Like it feels to me like Darwin's a winger for this team.
Yeah, left wing.
Like he just needs to be, because you need to work so hard to play wing for this team.
And Gakpo's probably competing with Jota for central because he's probably going to want more a little hold up, like a little they can do that. I mean that's what I would imagine.
Or he'll spell Mo also. He could do that, because the wingers are going to go really ham. I mean, basically the way that they were playing is like,
I mean, spell Mo is a tall task, but I mean,
he gets like different rules because he's Mo and he's kind of just second striker. But like the striker and the left winger were working so hard. Like whenever Sevilla was like breaking. Like they were just sprinting all the way back. And then the left back in that game of Simi is not providing nearly as much like for Diaz. Diaz is doing everything on his own up there, where versus like Mo has Sobo, Trent, everyone working around him. So it feels like, I'm like, oh, Darwin, that's like his best attribute is like, just kick it long to Darwin. He'll take on two guys, win the ball, head it down, make a pass or whatever. But that's besides the point. I mean, Jota.
No, pick, it's all fair. Yeah, I mean, look, for right now, he's a pick. And, you know, to me, how I imagine this working itself out, barring, you know, injuries, assuming everyone's fit, is these four players are just cannibalizing each other for FPL. And it's just Mo. And there's no
it's very possible.
And, you know, we're seeing 60-30 splits, and they're starting Champions League domestically, like, whatever. You know, all four of these players are getting significant and meaningful game time across all competitions. They're all incredible, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The other side, though, is, no, Jota is the guy, you know, and he's playing just like Mo does, you know, and he doesn't rate
They're
Darwin
winning games, and Darwin plays Champions League, and Jota plays this.
Or he plays Diaz, and Darwin's on the bench. He starts playing Gakpo in the advanced midfield spot. You know, he could do that.
Right.
You know, Gakpo could play that way.
Right.
So, you know, you're almost like, well, he has the job now, so I'll have him until he loses it. And that's fine. You know, I mean, I think you just have to
almost like another way of saying is like all of them might be, well, Mo aside, the other four guys might all be picks at different small windows of the season, and this might be Jota's. But like, you know, obviously, like, it might be Diaz's too, because Diaz is going to fucking start game week 1 for sure. But yeah, like Darwin, Gakpo might have their moments where they're like, oh, this 5 game weeks, Darwin might start, Jota's hurt, whatever the situation might be. But yeah, I mostly agree with you. I mean, I was just, while you were talking, I was looking at Feyenoord last season, and all of their attackers have like 1 or 2 unused sub appearances. Like he's subbing all the time. He's rotating. 5 subs in there. He uses the 5 subs, or rotating all the time. None of them have 3,000 minutes. They're all like 2,000, 1,100 to 2,500. Like they're all over the place with minutes. Which makes sense. I mean that's what most good teams do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Mo will probably break that a little bit.
Mo will break it.
Yeah, he'll play.
Just like Saka breaks it, just like Kev used to break it.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, good. I mean, he should look. The squad is amazing, and he should use it. So but I mean, for me, like I've diddled and played around a little bit with Jota. He's not gonna make it for me.
Yeah.
It's just
the only way he probably makes it for me is if I go with no Holland.
Sure.
I think that's like an easy
in expensive spots, right?
Yeah, I go 5-0, I go Rodgers to Jota, or I go 5-5 to Jota, and I'm just like, oh great, love this.
Okay.
We have a lot more questions, but
I think
we might have to push them to Thursday. Yeah. I
mean, the only other couple things, I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit more about like the 4 or 5 defender spot, like nailing it down a little bit more, but we could push that. It's not bad. And then, I mean,
and I have everything. I have this master doc that we'll go over on Thursday and answer the questions and all that shit.
Have another 2-hour pod that no one's going to listen to because it'll be out for 8 hours.
Everyone's going to listen. Come on.
Oh, God. They're going to wake up and brush their teeth and take a shower.
It's Christmas, dude. Yeah. They fucking wake up at 5 in the morning, run downstairs, new pod.
I was also like playing still a little bit more with Munoz, Mitch, Porro. Defense. The thing that was just disturbing me was just looking at our fixtures and from clean. They're just not good.
I know.
And having
I haven't
both,
been on Munoz for a bit. Eze has not left my team, but Munoz, I've been like, I love him, and I think he's great, and I think he'll get attack returns. And I'm also just like, God, these fixtures. And to be honest, like I know Dean's played better, Hendo better. In my head, I'm just like, don't like that.
Yeah,
really wish it was Johnstone.
Yeah, so do I. And he's like trying to get out of the club. So, I mean, I mentioned that just from the standpoint of, you know, they're playing, you know, I mean, Mitchell got an assist, you know, the other day. And, you know, we mentioned, I think I mentioned a few pods ago about just the same, like they're both so attacking.
Yeah.
In this system. And,
yeah.
You know, and then, I mean,
they're really
I still have
backs.
Yeah, they're trouble. Mitchell's a wing back and Munoz is a forward. I think is the way it looks to me. But Flecken, Henderson, I'm still on. I've been playing around with Sells and Areola.
I like Flecken a lot.
I don't like. Well, why? Like, I have a hard time with like robot like Flecken. Like, he has Southampton 3. There's not a clean 2 before or 2 after. Like, what's the play there? Like, why is it good?
Yeah, no, true. I think the play in my head, and now looking at their fixtures right now, I'm probably not going to be on Flecken because I do have this strong belief that like,
easy.
Well, I just had him in there. It's the position I never tinker with.
No, like, sure. It's all I look at, and you never do. That's why I never pod partner.
But like, I really believe that we should all be hyper focusing short term because we're going to wild card eventually. And like, if you're looking at someone like Flecken who has no chance of a clean until game week 6, like that's fucking
3.
bad. Well, other than game week 3
yeah.
and then game week 6, like that's fucking bad, and I don't want that. Yeah. Hendo's fine. I have spent so little time on keeper. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. I've probably at this point tinkered more with
keeper.
Premium keepers because I've been like in the Holland teams and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Areola, because they all have bad fixtures, right? Like, who has the good fixtures?
NFO
for cleans.
Fulham. Fulham don't have a 4-5 keeper,
but Leno, maybe it's worth it.
Sells and Areola are pretty good rotating.
Sells and Areola, yeah.
I mean, Sells is, I was mentioning to, I think he's terrible, but
he's awful.
I was talking to somebody. It's like the worst case with that pair is like I'm bench boosting one. Say Sells gets dropped by the international break. I lump a couple bad fixtures with Areola, or I'm wild carding. I don't know, but
and it's fucking keeper, bad fixtures, whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, we shat on the 5-0 keepers, but like when you look at the fixtures, it's like Emmy, Leno, Pickford, like
even Pickford,
they're all fucking really nice runs, really safe. I might go there.
Yeah, I just with the bench boost, like it has to be 4-5-4-5. So. I'm really looking at either Flecken and Hendo or really Sells and Areola, and I haven't really found any other, possible combination that makes sense. I don't know.
All right, dude. Well, fuck.
All right, dude.
I mean, this is a big pod.
Plenty tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to have to listen back to this before we go on Thursday because it's just crunch time, and you got to do what you got to do.
It's too much.
Yeah.
All right.
We got a lot of asses to slap. We got a lot of new Patreon signups. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Dawood Ben Simon, Gareth Parkinson, Crizzle Krause, Sajal Chandra, Stuart Tilling, Noah Stiles, Squirrel Joe, Simon Glenn, Brian L, Gus Reel, Brendan Whalen. Slap your ass, baby. Get in there. And that's a pod. Walsh, any last words?
See you tomorrow, Bob.
I'll see you tomorrow, dude. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL Sports at Patreon.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, review,